I'm Peter Sparks with the Lachlan Catchment Management Authority. I'm a Program Manager based out of Cowra and have worked in the Upper Lachlan for probably the last 10 or 15 years, working with a lot of our ongoing programs, managing our ongoing programs and forming good relationships and links with a lot of our partners, and particularly some of those have been Landcare groups. And I'd just like to talk for a couple of minutes about Jura Creek Landcare Group. We find that it's a great group, Jura. They're very motivated. They're very focused. They came to us and put a proposal to us a number of years ago to seek funding to undertake property planning and catchment planning, which we obviously jumped at. We think that's a great way to do business with Landcare. And they use the funds and work with some of our staff out of the Bora office to engage all the landholders in the Jura Creek catchment and develop up a catchment plan and individual property plans. So the benefit of that is that they could then prioritise what their issues were. One of the key issues that came out of that was the tussocks were a major infestation in the catchment and in a lot of those properties. So from that planning and that base plan, it gave them the opportunity to apply for funding from other bodies such as Caring for Country, and Tussock Tamers 1 was put up as a funding application which got legs and got great funding, and it really motivated that group. And I suppose from a CMA's perspective, tussocks were not probably a core NRM focus for us, but we could see that was a high priority for Jura Creek, as it has been for a number of other groups right across the catchment. And I think what it gave the group the impetus, I suppose, to engage all the property owners, but it also gave them the opportunity to assess their total natural resource management assets. So they looked at soils, veg, water, threatened species, and it opened up the door, I suppose, for a lot of other issues to be addressed. But their focus being tussocks at the time, but it gave that social impetus and that social input, and I suppose a lot of ownership for the group and the memberships of the group. And I must say that Tussock Tamers 1 has led on to another application called Tussock Tamers 2, which we've also supported, and 3. But a lot of that originated from just a core group of landholders who had an interest in natural resource management, and they had a water summit, a water life summit, which I think I spoke at back about 5 to 8 years ago, and it was probably just a kickstart for that group, and it formed a little bit of glue for them to go on to do their catchment planning and address a lot of other issues within the catchment. And I suppose from a CMA's perspective, we're all about partnershiping and supporting where we can with staff and with funding, and this is a great group that's well motivated.
My name's Bronwyn Wicks. I'm a Weeds of National Significance Coordinator for serrated tussock, chili needlegrass and fireweed. I've been involved in the Upper Lachlan Landcare project and with the Jura Creek project for probably the last 2 to 3 years. I've been able to provide some kind of strategic framework and advice that's helped, I think, to pull that project together. One of the many aspects I was very impressed with how this project went ahead, it was the priority it placed on supporting members of their community, looking after the people in the community as much as the land. And they saw that people who were what we call managers and farmers and whatever were as important as anything else. So there's an emphasis on people meeting each other in social forums and with a bit of humour, but sharing dinner, that kind of thing. So people got to know each other as a social network, and they got to know that the issues that they have with managing serrated tussock, they share with their neighbours. And that's as much part of the issue as anything else, is realising that, you know, my problem is my neighbour's problem, is my community's problem. And as long as we just keep it at that individual level, then we just cannot effectively manage these common and widespread weeds, and we can't manage them over the long term, which is really what we need to come to grips with as a society.
So if we're going to be successful in controlling noxious weeds, then the community has to realise that they have a role to play. So you can't rely on a council or a local control authority to control weeds without the assistance or the cooperation of landowners. So the development of a partnership of this Tussock Taming project did assist council by raising the awareness of the issue of noxious weeds, in particular serrated tussock, and it also provided a lot of promotions and field days and awareness, general awareness of the community, and it just took a lot of pressure off the council because a lot of the extension work was done by the group and the organisation, and just assisted council with its programs, and I think it has been successful.
Yep. Well, I think one of the most important things about running workshops like this and inviting people to come into the community halls and schools and fire sheds that were used, where people could come along and realise that having weeds was not something to be ashamed of, and that we all have weeds, and that we could discuss this and they could talk with each other, share their experiences, share how they tried to do it, realise that there was a numerous number of ways to control weeds, and feel that there was actually hope for them into the future. And that social contact and the ability to meet with your neighbours and work on things together, I think will last well into the future, and all of that's down to the Landcare ethos.
So I really think that this project was a great example of managing common or widespread weeds like serrated tussock, not only in a landscape, a physical landscape environment, which is what we're really all on about, but also in a social landscape environment where we look after the people as part of looking after the environment. And that's what I found really great, and really want to support projects like this into the future.